Okay. Hi, Aramide. Welcome to the BV podcast. It is such an honor to have you here. And I'm excited. Like, I am really excited for this conversation because I feel like we're going to be just free flowing and sharing about your journey and just see and really showing young women like what is possible. So, but before we get started, I really want you to share a little bit about yourself for those that haven't really met you before or those that don't know you. Who is Aramide in your own words?
When you asked me that question, I just remembered I was having a conversation yesterday, and my
Okay.
mentee just sent me a message on WhatsApp that who are you? And in my head, I'm
Wow.
like, oh, I'm a friend here.
I'm a fine girl. I'm a fine girl.
And so, I was wondering, like, why are you asking me? So she was trying to clarify something about identity and all of that. And so I was telling her that I see myself as the expression and the workmanship of God on the earth. So if
Wow.
God wants me to do something, or if God wants something to be done
Oh,
on the earth,
wow.
then I am his extended hand on the earth, because it can literally not come down to do it. Right. The only
Yeah.
time he came of a man was to literally put me in the spot where I can do this kind of work for him. Right. And
Wow.
Jesus has done that already. So now it's now my turn to be responsible and to do what God wants me to do. So I literally like to see myself as, so I've started to redefine my identity, and I don't want to say,
Mm,
oh, I'm an educational leader, or
mm,
I'm a mentor to women, or whatever. I like to see myself as the expression of God's hand on the earth and the workmanship of God, literally, like whatever you want me to do, like God, I'm here. I'm not saying I'm in this sector or I'm in this space. I'm not doing that. Right. I just want to be wherever you want me to be. And that's
girl,
that's why.
that's so precious. See, because let me tell you why that is so precious. See, the name of this podcast is Birthing Visions Podcast. And
Hmm.
a visionary like you and I know is
Hmm.
someone that captures God's thoughts.
Yeah.
Someone that captures God's thoughts, like DTK would define it, God's thoughts about an unfolding future. So you
Mm-hmm.
are someone that is positioning herself for
Yeah.
whatever God wants to do.
Exactly.
That's life. That's it. You get it. You
Yeah.
understand it. And I love because it's so easy for us to put ourselves in that boxes. See, this thing you're
Yes.
saying is so serious and so deep. I've had to also personally like go through, gosh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Should I be this or should
Mm-hmm.
I be that?
Am I exactly?
But
Exactly.
but the best place is just being that extension.
Wherever. Yes.
Thank you
Wherever
for
you want me
that.
to be. If you want
That's
me to be in media today, I'm not going to worry about people are saying you are jumping from sector today, you're in media, tomorrow you're in education. Wherever you want me to be, God, I'm here for you. I'm literally here for you. I'm here to serve you.
I don't I wish you understand. Like I don't want to talk too much because because I was having, in short, I want to talk. Let me say it. Let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you, like I had this conversation. I can literally open my journal and show you this conversation
Wow. Mm-hmm.
today in my quiet
Wow.
time, onto
Wow.
because I'm I, I'm in a space in my YouTube channel, right? I have a YouTube channel, like and I'm in this space
Yes.
where there's just mixed feelings. Like the YouTube people, the algorithm and all the people say
Yeah. You,
have one niche. You must have one niche.
yes.
Everybody says that. And today
Mm-hmm.
I've been struggling and I literally was having this conversation with God today. God, how can
Yeah.
they
We.
what about the multi-dimensional woman?
Yes.
Like how about
Yes.
her, how is she going to fix herself? Like this, what about what you're doing? What about
Exactly.
that was what I was saying. And look at
Mm-hmm.
you confirming to me that uh-uh, thank you, Jerry. We've not even started and we're already we're already all over the place. But honestly, that's so good. I really wish that someone that would listen to this would get that and would really see that and also be able to catch it enough to enter into that space, even for themselves. I pray that you will see it and catch it. But thank you so much. So that's literally who you are, and I love that. But I'm just going to ask you because you just turned 22, right? You just celebrated your birthday. You just turned 22.
Yes.
Happy birthday. I actually
you.
said happy birthday. And for those that don't really know, of course, I'm going to, they would have heard your introduction before now, but you are just amazing, doing a lot. Imagine being 22 and you have gone to school, not just any school, you're a Harvard grad, you are married. Aramide, you're married. You have a book, you're an author, you literally have a school that you started when you were a teenager. Like in any space, in any country in the world, I don't think you are the average 22-year-old anywhere in the world. I really don't think so. So, and that's why I really want to ask you, and for you to, if you can be able to share, like, what are the things that really made you into this woman at such a young age? There's so many. I know what I was doing when I was 22. I was not, like, there's so many young people that don't really understand it until after a while. So how did you come to this point?
That's here.
If there are like 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you would say, okay, this is it that made you into this person at such a young age, please tell us.
So if I got your question correctly, I should talk about like things that have helped me to get to where I am and like be all I am right now.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just like to say that I wouldn't really say I've always been like this.
Okay.
But I had an ambitious mom, and I knew I've always wanted to do something remarkable in my life. Like, I knew that I didn't want to live an average, mediocre life. Just, have a good home, have a car, have a good job, and just die, give birth, send your children to school, spoil them with money, or she was okay and all of that. Like, I didn't want that. I didn't want to live a mediocre life. And so I started to say, so at that point, I've always had that mindset, literally. Okay. So when I got to uni, I got to 200 level. Okay. Yeah, so I gave my life to Christ in 100 level, but it was in 200 level I really started to, follow through and all of that with my relationship with God, growing spiritually and all of that. And so I would like to, there's no way I can talk about getting to this point without talking about how the fact that Jesus or God is at the center of my life. Yeah. So when I got to 100 level, I was just this young girl. I knew I didn't want to live, and I didn't want to live a mediocre life. Yes. But I feel like at that point, mediocrity would have been like, I didn't want to struggle. So if I'd gotten like internships or an international job or a scholarship, it would have been a quick fix. Because the mindset was not to be purposeful or to be fulfilled. I just didn't want to struggle. So if I'd gotten a great job in a bank, it would have been a great fix for me. So at that time, I remember always praying that, God, I just want to do what you want me to do. Like, I've literally had this mindset, and this was when I was 16. So I would just be praying to God. And I remember, like, I would take walks in the evening after my classes, that God, I don't want to struggle in this life. Just tell me what to do. And the good part is that I went to a private school. Yeah. And, I went to Coventry University. So the private school is a God-driven school. It's like a missionary kind of school. Yeah. So everybody like talked about purpose. So left and right is God. So it's not like it's not like that was where I really got closer to God. So I'm just like, okay, God, just let me know what to do. I will do it. I don't have ambition. Wow. I don't have ambition. Just let me know what to do. And when I got to 300 level, like, people were saying purpose, talking about purpose, and I'm like, what's this purpose thing? I want to know my purpose. It was like almost a competition because everybody around me, I know my purpose. I don't know, maybe they are saying the truth or maybe they are bragging or maybe I don't know, but all I know is that people talk about purpose. It was
and you
hyped.
wanted yours.
And I'm like, what's this purpose thing? Like, what is all this? Me that I've come here to generally study economics. Like, when I'm done my economics, let me just get a good job and know that I'm making my parents proud, and that's all. And someone's talking about purpose. And so I'm like, okay, let's see. And Bishop David Oyedepo is the chancellor of the school, and he definitely living a life of purpose. So he talked about it. He had books on it. So like they were always talking about it. We had leadership classes we did. They were always talking about they always kind of thing and all of that. So when the purpose of the thing is not known, we had TMC classes where they always talk about purpose. And like, okay, God, I'm here. Like, let's do this thing. Let's know this purpose.
Yes.
And I remember we had like a show program, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to take out this 21 days prayer and fasting. They always do that in winners. So I said I'm going to take it out and I'm going to actually pray and ask, like, this is my concentration. I'm not asking you for a 5.0 result. I'm not asking for anything. Just tell me, why am I here? I don't want to live a life that doesn't make any sense. I don't want to live a life that doesn't make any sense at all. I don't want to live a life where I don't feel like I'm sitting in my deathbed and I'm feeling so much regret.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that. So I didn't want to do anything. And another thing was that even though my mom was a banker and she made money and we traveled and all of that, I hated the fact that she was so busy that she was so busy, right? She was so busy that she wasn't really, we didn't really build relationship with her and all of that.
Wow.
So she was a bank, she had money, literally. So I could literally say that, oh, you can have money and your life doesn't add up like that. Yeah. So I didn't want to miss any aspect of my life. And I know that as long as I'm in God's purpose for my life, I will never be a terrible mom. I will never be a terrible mother. I will never be a terrible wife.
Yes.
I won't miss out on any area. Once I am at the center of God's will for my life, everything will connect. Yes. Because that's where God wants me to be at that time. So I'm like, God, just tell me what you want me to do. So I'll say the first thing is like, God, I can't talk about my story without God. And at that time, God asked me to teach. I heard it loud and clear. Teach. I heard it. Immediately he asked me to.
In that fasting, like during that fasting.
In that, yes.
Okay.
Yes, in that fasting. So it's not like I got a roadmap that, so now start taking tutorials. After you take tutorials, get an opportunity, you go to Harvard. I didn't get all that, right?
Okay.
I just heard
teach.
And do you know that even till now, which is like 5 years after that 2016 that God told me to teach, God is still unraveling what it means to teach. So immediately I finished, I got I usually used to take tutorials. So it's not like teaching was a new thing to me, right? It was something I used to do, but I wasn't intentional. I just like to share what I knew with other people. So I used to take tutorials and all of that. But after that time, the registrar of the school called me to teach, like literally, like the registrar of the school called me out of the 10,000 students coming to university. He called. And so it gave me a teaching gig with students that had failed. And, it just, after I worked with them for 3 months, then we had students that were getting like D grades and some of them were even repeating. But after I got them for that 3 months, their lowest grade was a C. So that was when I knew that
there's something here. Oh my God.
There's something here for me.
This is like like people of your age, like your fellow students, you are teaching them.
Exactly, yes. Wow. And there were even some of them that they were a bit higher than me, but because they had failed some courses in
they had to be taught. Okay.
So I was teaching them, they paid me though. So I was teaching them, and the results, the impact was so good. And I'm like, wow, this is actually good. Like I taught them over the space of a year, I think. And so after that, after then, I kept teaching my classmates tutorials, and I kept like tutorials and all of that. I was good. People wanted to study with me, like they'll read with me, and literally they will just pass. Like they'll read with me and then they'll have good results. Like people used to want to be in my study group. I used to hold tutorials for people and all of that. And so after that time, I kept the tutorial thing until I got to 400 level.
Okay.
And then when I got to 400 level, I started to read about education. So when God asked me to teach, immediately after that, I started reading about education and all of that. Okay. So it starts with God. God would let you know what to do. Because I also wanted, another reason why I prayed, another thing I prayed for during that 21 days, along with my purpose, it tagged along anyway, was that God, I did not want to, because I had heard stories of people that, they start in this way. After they had now gone for like 10 years.
Yes.
Or for almost all the years of their lives, they now turn back.
Yeah.
I'm not like, God, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Exactly. I don't want to go and study medicine. After I've now done like 10 years, I've gone to medical school, I've done everything. I'll now finally come back and be an artist or be an artist or something. I know. What I'm originally
made for.
I'm like, God, I don't want to go around with my life. I want to maximize this thing and just do what you want me to do. And I prayed about it. So there have been so many ramifications or so many definitions of purpose and everything that it means.
Yes.
But for me, you can't know your purpose except that you can't look. I don't really believe when people say, when you want to know your purpose, look inward. Why are you looking inward?
What is inward, right?
What is inward? Like you're going to ask God. You're not looking inward, though. You ask because the one that made you. Yes. I wrote my book. The reason why I wrote my book is to inspire people that you can go after your dreams and go after God's purpose for your life. Yes. That's the reason why I wrote that book. You can't look inward. You can't look inward into yourself to know why I wrote my book.
Yes. You don't know.
You can't look inward.
Yeah.
You ask me. When you now ask me, right? I'll now show you. I'll tell you. I show you.
Yes.
You start to see.
Yes.
So when I started to ask God for my purpose, and I started to see, like after he told me teach, and I started to see, okay, I'm talented in this. Oh, I remember teaching this person and she got it. I remember how it comes easy for me. I remember that I can do this and this, and it comes easy for me. So I'm like, wow, there's something here. Okay, let's pay attention to it. So what should I do now? I started reading, and yesterday I was going through the journal that, oh my God, I was going through my journal of 2016 and I was seeing everything.
Are you serious?
I literally saw, I'm not joking, I literally saw like when he asked me to teach and I wrote to that, God, when I prayed, I remember you asking me to teach, what should I do next? Then he said I should go and learn. I should go and read about it. He literally like told me, like I didn't even know that God told me to go and read about it. All I remember was I know after I started reading about different education systems like Japan, Finland, Nigeria. I started reading about the education system, and he asked me to read about. And after he asked me to read about it in 2000 and in 300 level 1 year after, he told me that I'm supposed to give people access to education. I'm supposed to make people get to. He said something like you're supposed to bring people out of illiteracy. So you're supposed to help people with literate. So give people access to education.
Yes.
Do you know till today, God is still unraveling what that means? Because even though I send children to school and I give them access to fully funded education, I'm still mentoring girls. I'm still teaching.
That's access.
You might have an email. I have an email community. Every Saturday, I send them emails teaching about something.
Wow.
I'm still teaching. So after a while, it started to open up because I'm like, wow. So God will not put me in a box. I'm not just for the classroom. I'm bigger than the classroom. So what else? Because I know that God, when you say
there's more.
It's not just car. It's more than 5 letter words.
It's not
like it's more than that. And so it started to define everything for me as I took steps. So the more I wouldn't have been able to see how will I explain this now? I wouldn't have been able to see the different ramifications of that teach if I had not, for one step, taking tutorial, Next step, go teach your Nigeria. Next step, I won't be sending children to school, of which God asked me to do if I'd not gone teach your Nigeria, to teach in a public school for 2 years. Because it was in that place that I knew. Because when God was asking me to teach, I didn't know that there were children that were not in school. Because I grew up in a well-to-do home. So I lived in an estate. We didn't own bus.
Yes.
So I didn't know that everybody in my estate were all going to school. Going to school saying bye-bye. As we meet in church, everybody is in school. Like, I'm going to this school. There was nobody in my church that I knew that went to a public school, literally. Like, everybody was, I thought everybody was okay. Right? So as I went, God asked me to teach and provide literacy and access to education in 2016, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know that there were not children in school. But if I'm not going to teach in Nigeria, I wouldn't have known. And yes, and if I had not done tutorial in school, so it was because somebody saw that I'm passionate about teaching. Based on my tutorial, it showed me that Teach Your Nigeria opportunity. So if I had not taken that tutorial in school, nobody would know that this girl likes to teach, and I will not get the opportunity. So if God asks you to do something, you have to take one step, because I like to think about it as a mystery, because when you open, I don't know if you play all the like mysterious games that you open the door,
there are clues.
You enter that door, clues. So that's the way it is, honestly. God always, he literally, and today, like, every time I look back, and I'm like, God, like, this is this thing. This is, you're a master planner,
I know.
literally.
It blows my mind.
Step, you will not open up the next door, right? If you don't take one step, you won't open up. And I like to think about it like this. There's an illustration I like to share. Just think about, you're driving at night. If you drive, you're driving at night. You literally, maybe we are driving from Lagos to maybe Ibadan. If you're driving at night from Lagos to Ibadan, you won't see the light. The lights in front of your car will not shine till you get to Ibadan. It will shine to maybe 100 meters or for a particular time. When you move the lights will open up. So me, the reason why I know that, the reason why I cannot be afraid of my future, or I cannot be scared that something will go wrong in my life, is that I know that the light, God, which is my light, is going to keep shining as I take steps. So when it shines the light, it shows me, go and do this thing, go and start this thing. This is how you should do it. I'll go and do it. Knowing that when I do that one,
you're the next door.
You know, you're the light. You come and open the light. You come and shine the light. And like that, and like that. So another thing that's helped, I've said the first thing, God. The second thing, taking steps. I never get to a point in my life where, like, if anybody that knows me closely knows that I feel like I'm a very restless person, because I'm always asking, like, I feel like every single day I'm always introspecting and reflecting that, God, am I where you want me to be? Am I doing what you want me to do? Like, I'm literally always, and I feel like it's getting to be like an unending chase. You know how the hamster,
yes. But it's fun. It's thrilling. It's like
my life is interesting.
Exactly.
Yes. Because I know that, and for every step I take, there's no going back. Like, just like the hamster. As hamster, you don't seem go back. You keep going. You keep going. You keep going until you do what God wants you to do. Until you actually achieve the big vision, right? But you keep going. You keep going, and so you can't. Like, I literally never stay at the point in my life that there's never really a point where I do, or I'm like, laziness from where, when you have these things to do, when God has already told you that this girl's life, her life to go to school is on your head. So when you know, I can't say I'm too young. Like, I can't say I'm a teenager. I'm not. I can't say that, because destiny is at stake. And that's the good part about purpose. Purpose draws a line. Like, it gives you, your purpose is like that bridge to helping humanity. So there's nothing like a purpose that serves you, right? I feel like since when I have started doing the work I do, I've literally lived a selfless life. Like, there's literally no time. There's almost no time where I've actually been selfish about my pursuits because it's always to the end of one child. Like sometimes I share a story or I do something and I know that, oh, I don't feel like doing it because maybe, I don't know, maybe something. I don't feel like sharing this thing. But I actually have to share because the education of a child depends on me sharing that story. And if I don't share that story, I might not get a donor to send this child to school.
Yes.
So the purpose is not a place where you sit down and say, thank God, oh, I already found my purpose. Oh,
And that's
hallelujah, I'm there. No, it's like, it is like purpose is, it's
never
scary.
ending.
It's almost scary, honestly, because you're like, me. and you know, it takes out, it changes you literally.
It does.
Like, I can't sit down and not develop myself because
Yes.
I know that if I don't develop myself, I'll place more with this vision. Oh.
Yes.
Like I will not achieve anything. I know that if I don't develop my character, I will lose donors. I will lose people that are supposed to take my purpose.
God, Aramide, you're wise.
So,
I get it. I get it.
So literally, like even after God shows you what to do, it is now your own choice to take steps. Like it's already like once you see, just have the mindset that once God, who is the creator of the world, has sent me to do something, that's it. Right? That's it. You're good. Yeah. You're good. So there's nothing to be scared about. Okay. Just know how and where and when. Just get that. And he will not tell you what to do without giving you more details. God does not play peekaboo.
Yeah.
What's that game?
I know.
Peekaboo. He doesn't play Ludo with us. Yeah. Right? It's not a game of luck. Yeah. He doesn't do that. He opens up and shows you. And trust me, you know, the Bible says something about I like to think about it like this: when you are willing and you are obedient, God will not leave you alone, right? So you need to be willing, and and willingness is not only like saying, "Oh, I want to do it," but saying, "How do you want me to do it?
Do it.
Where do you want me? Who am I working with? Who are my collaborators? Who are my partners on this?" So another thing is taking steps. Don't freeze and don't be too scared. Okay. It's God that's giving you that vision, and He's going to bring it. He's going to, because he cannot do it by himself. Yes. You're the one is going to do it. And if he wants to do something, he has to do it excellently because he's an excellent God. So don't be afraid. Just know that God is with me on this thing. So I just have to do and execute at every single time. Like that's everything God wants me to do. So that's another thing that's helped me. And you know, in that part of taking steps, there are different things that come to play. Relationships, like I don't trade it. I don't joke. I don't joke with it, right? Wow. There are some people that without them, so there's a quote that I read last week that says that everything you need right now is in the hand of somebody. So let me give you an example. I want to get a scholarship. Let's say I want to get Chevening scholarship. My scholarship is in the hand of the person that is going to interview me, because that person that's going to determine, oh, you're good enough, you're not good enough, right? So every funding I need right now to take my work to the next level is not God. God does not. Oh, when I was doing my fundraiser, God did not rain dollars. I did not find the dollars in my room. God used people. God used people to donate. And one thing I noticed about that fundraiser that I'm grateful for is that was when I started to see like relationships at play. People that, you know, there was a particular guy there that when I was in 200 level, he was almost expelled from school. But you remember I had a relationship with my registrar because I was a teacher, confided in me, and he had a close relationship. And it's the registrar that is in charge of your decision, of your disciplinary action. So this one was like what it did, literally, like you already know you are going to be expelled. So just gonna pack your load. And I remember he came to meet me. I didn't know this guy from anywhere, but I know he came to meet me and he's like, "Oh, I know you have a relationship. Please help me beg." And I think they were able to reduce that punishment to about 4 weeks suspension or so. And you know, he immediately saw this fundraiser. He's a media guy, and he's like, "Hey, you're looking for money to Harvard. You're going. You're going." And he started, if you see my flyers and everything,
all those things,
look at my campaign, he was the one, right? Hey, so that's like relationships. And that's why you need to be, as much as I know there are times when we are almost like cranky and some people are just so annoying and you want to just right. But it is also important that you start to think about the bigger picture of things and know that you can't, there's a limit to how far you can go without people. Like that's something I know. There's a limit to how far you can go. And honestly, if there's anywhere I am right now, it's because of the people that God has surrounded me with. I literally don't think I'll be there. Like, just look at my parents. When I was in, how am I doing everything I'm doing at this age? When I was in primary 4, my parents believed that okay, although my mom was a banker and a busy person, she wanted to put her in boarding school. But definitely you can't put a child that doesn't know anything at all in just one. Because there has to be, because it's a risk. There has to be some sort of belief that you have in that child that you say, oh, you should be able to cope in just one. And so my mom literally asked me to do a common entrance. I did common entrance in primary 4. I passed, and mom is like, off you go to boarding school. Off you go. Off you go. Because I feel like maybe she didn't want to feel like, oh, she was always leaving us in the hands of house help and all that. So it's better to just put them in an institution that takes care of them and there's a structure and system to that. So off I went to just one. I packed my things as an 8-year-old girl.
Wow.
And off I was to boarding school to live my life independently, right? And so I'm like, I feel like that was an orchestration from God, because even if, yes, God was there, but he had to use my parents, because let's say I didn't have parents or something, or maybe, maybe my parents didn't just even believe in me.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe I won't be doing, maybe, yes, I'll be doing as much, but not at this age.
Level, or at this age, exactly.
So, like everywhere, everything I do, like every idea I have, there's always a relationship factor. Every opportunity I get, there's always somebody that supported me to get. I can't think of any opportunity that I got on my own. Like the Teach Nigeria fellowship thing, it was somebody that sent it to me.
Did it for
when
you.
I got to Teach Nigeria, the Harvard, God did not tell me to go to Harvard. Like he did not say, Aramide, it's time to go to Harvard. No, it was a human being like me that came to meet me and said, Aramide, I think you can get in. Go and try it. And I tried it and I got in. Immediately I got in, I'm looking for my funds. It was human being that came and said, let's do this. We can do this together.
Are you serious?
Yes. Although, yes, I prayed about it. There's a God factor, but God will not do anything on the earth without us. People. I raised my full money. He always uses, and that's why you can't afford to be rude. You can't be mean. You can't afford to treat people like trash. Like, who are you? Like, for why? You're a fellow human being. You're a fellow human being just like you. Just because you have a higher privilege, of which it is the grace of God, doesn't mean that you're actually better than that person, right? So that's one thing. That's another thing that's helped me. Relationships are so important. So the first thing, God. The second thing, taking steps, and then relationships. There's so many things in taking steps.
Okay, man, this is just awesome. Like I hear a lot. I even heard journaling, because you were journaling as you were.
Yes.
Like there's God. I hope that everyone is going to really pick out what is their own from this conversation, because there's just so much to learn from this. And that leads me to ask you, because you started talking about it already. And because this one, I'm just excited I saw, of course, a lot of people knew when you were raising the funds to go for Harvard, and just, and God literally blew everyone's mind in the middle of COVID.
Including mine.
I'm telling you, this thing happened. So I really wanted you to share a little bit about the experience with your Harvard experience for someone maybe out there, because a lot of people, it's like globally, it's like a goal for a lot of people, and you've been able to do that. So what were you like, if you don't mind sharing, like your Harvard experience? What were you surprised about as a student of Harvard? What did you learn? What did you used to think before, and then you came in and you're like, you are like a misconception, So I would really like you to share, if you don't mind.
So I think like the most surprising thing for me was finding out I was the only Nigerian in my class.
Oh,
I was
wow.
expecting to see like other
More.
Nigerians. I think
Mm.
almost like even in all my classes, I would like slide my Zoom thing, and in some classes I was the only African in the class,
Mm.
right? So it was I didn't really like the
Mm.
fact that, and sometimes I wanted to do projects. We did a lot of projects because their teachings are very practical. So
Mm.
like you do a lot of projects, honestly, practical
Okay.
projects, and you write reflections on what you have actually done practically in a way that if you do not do it and you're talking big, they will know.
No,
So
I love
it's
it.
very practical,
Wow.
very practical. You can literally get into school with an idea and come out with a solution that is already designed. Like that's what it
Wow.
helps you. So you're literally coming as a like you be thinking solutions, literally.
Mm. Mm.
And so the only surprising thing was that I didn't have like other Africans. Some weren't Africans, but some of my classes I was the only African in class, and
African
some
there.
other classes I
Mm.
was only Nigerian in class.
Mm.
And if I wanted to do a project, it was difficult to gather together. So the
Mm.
first project I did it alone because there was no African
To do,
Nigerian.
to
There was no African.
collaborate
There was one
with.
guy,
Ah,
but there was no Nigerian, and the work I wanted to do was focused on Nigeria. But I
okay.
had to do it alone. I didn't really like the experience.
Mm.
So my next semester, I had to start looking for, like, I literally started looking for African names on my school directory that
Are you
I'm going to look for
serious?
it. Yeah, fine. Yes. And then I finally met a Zimbabwe girl and a Ghanaian. Yes.
Oh,
And so we
wow.
actually worked on something together. But
Okay.
it was very difficult to get someone, and it's not easy to use, like, work with a US person because they don't understand your content.
Yes,
And
they don't.
when you're telling them poverty, they probably think that okay, poverty is like is their own definition of poverty is
It's different.
way
Yeah. Yes.
enjoyment, honestly, because they say these are the marginalized children in the community, and then the marginalized children were able to learn during Corona. Like they had their own computers, they had internet, they have lights.
That
I'm
that's
like, these ones are not
marginalized.
marginalized.
Marginalized
Don't
now.
talk about my own children here. Like my kids are weren't able to learn at all. And they
Mm.
didn't have smartphones or
Oh,
anything. So they were
wow.
literally like out of everything. So it
Mm.
was not easy to design like a solution. Like even a project I did that was supposed to be Nigerian based, as much as possible, my other classmates that were from America, Egypt,
Mm.
and all of that, they tried to
So
tweak it
most of
in
them
the
were from where? Do you
US.
mostly Americans?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Yes, most of them. About
okay.
honestly, about 70% of people in
Oh,
class were American.
wow. Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And then we had like some from UK. Then
Okay.
we have you have like sprinkles, and then we
Of
have Asia, yes, Asian guys.
Asians. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Singapore, Hong Kong, and the rest. So
Okay.
we had like, let's say 70, like 65 from America.
Mm.
No, actually 70 from America, and
And
you can
then
have like 15% from Asia,
Asia.
and then the
Okay.
remaining countries you can share the rest. Right.
Wow.
So it was diverse, but
Yeah.
wasn't so like
Okay.
that.
I get it.
And then one thing that one misconception that my schooling at Harvard changed for me
Mm.
was how to deliver a solution.
Okay.
So I know that we have a mindset, especially as a non-profit, right?
Mm.
When you have a mindset that when there's a problem, you just solve it. Whether
Okay.
the like you don't care about what people that are going through, the people that are in the street, like you assume that the people that are going through the problem, this is what they need.
Need.
They
And
need
I
your
just
solution,
give them. Yeah.
and you solve it. And you say they can't, these children are out of school children. Let's give them or let's say these children are out of school children. Let's send them to school.
Okay.
You don't ask why are they out of school? Why can't
Ah.
you?
Okay.
Why? So I heard a story about a particular community that some people there they didn't have water.
Okay.
Some people there went to fix tap. But after like 2 weeks, they'll be spoiling the tap in the community. Like community
Mm.
members will be spoiling the tap. So after like a while, those ones will come back, they'll fix another tap, like
Tap.
spending wasting money. And
Mm.
after like a month or 2 months of destroying and all of that, they actually came back and they sat down with community members like, okay, why are you spoiling this tap? You don't need water.
Mm.
Don't you need water? Why are you spoiling the tap? And the community people were like, the men in the house were like, oh, the time when their wife go and fetch water, that's the only time they have to gist with with their friends without anybody nagging to them.
What?
The wives are like the time when they are going to fetch water. That's the only time they are going with their fellow women so that they can gist on the phone.
So it's a serious something for them.
Yes, the children are like, we spoil it though, because the time when my mom is going to fetch water, that's the only time I'll play before they say, come and watch it. Come on. Yes. So everybody in the community, they were literally living the best of their lives before you. So the time which you think is a problem, which you think is a solution, is actually
really
a problem.
not.
We don't want. There you go.
Wow,
right?
That's
and so
very insightful.
Yes. And we call it design thinking. Design thinking in the sense that whenever you want to design a solution, you go to your beneficiaries and ask them how they are thinking about it.
Okay.
So if I want to start, you say, okay, it's also something that can be linked to root cause analysis, right? And so there are different stages of design thinking, but the most important part of it is that the people that you want to help actually need this your solution. It's just like, when we are starting, it's even relating to businesses. Some people just start businesses and they'll say it's not selling. Why will it sell?
Yeah.
Who told you that we need this kind of who have you tested? Right? Who have you tested your product with? Who have you done any prototype to be tested or anything? So that's the same way it's here. And that's why even though there are so many solutions or there are so many non-profits, we still have a huge, there are still so many social problems in Nigeria.
Yes.
Because people are not doing what the beneficiaries actually want. Yes. It's just like you see some girls now, they are running away from school. They don't want to go to school or something. Why are they running away from school? Are they running because there's no money or because their teacher is actually molesting them? And you are saying that, you're running away from school. We need to buy you school bag. We need to give you lunch money.
And we need you back.
Even if you are giving them all this, I like to call it a band-aid, because a band-aid is what you use to cover a wound when it's not healed. You want to conceal the wound. But very soon, after a while, the band, it's just like plaster. It will open up again.
Yes. That wound, and the wound will even fester and be worse.
You have to keep changing it, wasting resources, wasting time, wasting everything. So it's just important that, okay, when you want to design the solution to a problem, look for the root cause. What's causing this problem? And ask your beneficiaries, okay, this is what I want to do. What do you need that I can incorporate in my solution? So you can't just pass on and say, teachers are not trained because, what can we say now? Teachers are not trained because they cannot afford training. But what if they can afford the training and the training that they need is not available? That's why they don't want to get trained, right? So it is always important. That's one thing I learned, and I've brought it into different aspects of my life.
Your life.
Yes,
I was just about
because
to
every time I want to design a solution or even solve a problem for myself or my community or even my kids that I work with, as soon as they are, I call them and I say, why I've heard you're not going to school. Why are you not going to school? Mr. Aramide, because I'm hungry. Okay, if we give you food, would you come? You say yes, we'll come. We give them food. The problem is solved. The problem is solved. Wow. The problem is solved. So awesome. Design thinking is going back to as opposed to, it's not about you, right? Yes. It's not about you. It's about people you are solving the problem for. So listen to your beneficiaries. So many NGOs are doing a lot of work for. They think that because these children are less privileged, they don't have their own thoughts, they don't have their own emotions, they don't have their own. They have their opinions, they know what they want, but nobody's asking them, because we think that because they're less privileged, or they don't know. You can't just insist on this what you want. You have to ask them, what do you want? And so you're not able to design a solution, so that you're not designing a solution that you have gotten grants and everything, but there's it's not really changing anything.
It's not really transformational.
So it's always good to have a design thinking. There's some steps to it. If you check it, just Google it online.
I will actually. I feel like this is so brilliant.
All the steps. Immediately you finish your idea, refine your idea. There are different processes, but also a part where you speak to your beneficiaries. You do a prototype of the solution that they are saying, you do that prototype, you will go back to them and test it. When you test it, you will refine it again, and then you're now able to push it out. to help them. So that
Beautiful.
way, you're creating something that is very sustainable and very
Yes.
needed.
Yes. Wow. I'm taking this one. This one is my own point. So awesome because you can apply it to so many things, even like so
Yes,
many things, digital products,
yes,
everything. You can do
yes,
this.
yes,
Awesome. Thank
yes.
you so much for that. Girl, this has been so awesome. But I want to ask you, um, because this podcast is about birthing visions, like I said earlier. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking like I don't know what phase of life or what you're thinking onto the future. What are you what vision or what is playing in your heart? What are you perceiving like this is the direction that I'm going to be heading with regards to your
Mhm.
vision and all that you're doing?
Yeah. So right now in where God wants me to be is to send children to school. So
Okay.
I've been doing that since January.
Hmm.
I've started working to provide education to children in low-income communities.
Okay.
But I've started working since 2018. That's
Hmm.
about 3 years now. But God, this year, God took it to another level. Like He gave me
Hmm.
a deeper focus to
Okay.
do. So when I saw that, I started with Saturday schooling for out of school children.
Okay.
But I knew that giving children access to quality education is more than Saturday. Saturday is never enough.
Enough. Yeah.
And so, like how I knew was during the pandemic. That was when I knew that this
Hmm.
thing is not, because when they resumed, literally they couldn't really remember everything.
Hmm.
So I knew that Saturday is not enough. And
Okay.
so in around January, the Spirit told me that I should send them to a private school. So before it, when he told me, I already had one girl in a private school. And anybody that follows my story well knows about Rokiba. So
Okay.
Rokiba is like a 16-year-old girl. When I was
Hmm.
still teaching in a public school, she
Hmm.
was in my primary 3 class as a 16-year-old girl. And she couldn't write ABC, she couldn't write nada, right? She couldn't write anything. And she kept going. She
Wow.
has been in that school since KGO, literally, and she
Wow.
was 16 years old and she couldn't write anything in primary 3. And so I took her to a private school, and she had to start from primary 1 actually, because it
Okay.
was bad. It was actually that bad. So she
Hmm.
had to start from primary 1 at 16 or 17. And I started to see, like, within 1 month, this guy started speaking English, and
Oh,
like I'll be speaking
wow.
to her in Yoruba, she'll be giving me English baskets. I'm like, what's this? Like the growth was good. It was too good. It was too good for
Wow.
a private school in Otta community. It was good.
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, I need to. So immediately God asked me to send the children to private school. I knew that was the school he was going to, and I knew
Okay.
that the fact that I sent that girl to that school in October was still orchestrated by God, because if I had not, I will start looking for a school that will test. I'll start testing, because
Hmm.
the reason why I sent her is just, okay, let's send that there, because I heard from community members that the school was actually good.
Good.
So it's not like
Okay.
I was intentionally testing that, oh, let me send the remaining children there. I
Okay.
wasn't. But that experience was already a test. So I knew that this school was good. So immediately God told me, I started to say, okay, I'm going to send, these are the children that are ready to move, and I can send them now. And by the grace of God, whenever you are doing what God wants you to do, He's going to provide the resources.
Sources. I was
So
about to ask
I didn't
about
bother about money.
funding.
God, where will I find money?
Hmm.
How will I get done? I didn't stress. I didn't stress her. And I feel like that's one good thing about being in purpose, like doing what God wants you to do. He's always going to provide, like, it will not, there's a name they call him in Yoruba, Oramonishe Fayati. He will not
Hmm.
send you a message and leave you alone. It's just
Alone.
like if your child grows old and is already like 16 years old, you can't send your child on an errand without money. For Christ's
Hmm.
sake, you are the one that sends the child.
71
You're the one
errand.
that sends the child on an errand. So me, I was on my own when you asked me to teach. So you not tell me that. I was having my bad JJ when you said I should send them to school.
Hmm.
So you will not tell me send them to school and not provide
Provide.
money. So that way people started reaching out to me, sending me DM. I saw the story of Rokiba. I would like to support a child, like just like that. And I can't talk about my story without talking about how I share the work that I do.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
I talk about the work I do. I share the stories with my kids, and by God's grace, they've gone a long way in bringing fund for us. So, I started to say, okay, these are the children that we need to move now. I went to the school, I spoke to them, I got a discount, we did a partnership I'm like, yes, God, this is smooth. This is smooth.
That's awesome.
So I started to, get the children into school, match them with donors. I developed a status report. I started visiting them every month, and their progress has been mind blowing. And currently, right now, we've been able to send about we have 17 children already, and these children are not children that they are just in school. You will get one donor, one off, and go. These children, like their primary education is sorted, like just sorted, right?
Wow.
Their education is sorted. And so we get them with these donors. They pay their fees all through their primary education. And then we're also want to partner with individuals and organizations to see if they can continue the sponsorship up to secondary school. Because some of these children are actually from low-income communities. Yeah. And even if they get the foundation right, if there's no continuation. Yes. For some of them, not all of them, for some of them, they'll actually lose it. So we are open to, sponsorships from people and organizations to actually continue sending these children to school. Oh, wow. But we moved every single one of them to private schools. And right now we're already at count 17. Yeah. So by the end of this year, we hope and we pray we're able to send 50 children, to get access to these schools. Another thing I'm working on now is also a mentorship program for young women and young girls. And one thing that's really motivating me to do that is that I know that people like to see that, I'm just confined life and all of that. But even though like is great, I also think that there's some mistakes I made that I wouldn't have if earlier, let's say very, very early. Or I didn't want to say mistakes, but there's some things that some opportunities that I didn't know there were opportunities. But if I had somebody to tell me, I would point it out. Yeah. So like when I was in uni now and I knew all these things, I had relationships, but I didn't maximize those relationships. And after school, these quality people that I knew that we could actually have like a great thing going on and actually get to do these great things together. I actually lost those circles because I wasn't intentional. So that's one thing that I've learned. And now I don't joke relationships. Like all the relationships God has given me, I've been holding them like this.
Please, on that note, I really want to ask you, like, if you can share like one thing or two about building a relationship. Yes, building a relationship or managing a relationship. Like, what do you do? What do you advise?
Yeah, so it's not like I'm 100% perfect as a relationship expert.
Yes, I get
it. But
I
think that one thing that's worked for me is the first thing, know who you are, know your value, know your worth. And second thing, don't have this relationship just to say, my friend knows this thing, you should help me with this. Like, go there and be the value. Like, don't be expectant, don't be a friend that's draining.
Yes, right? Don't always taking
and you don't have anything to offer. So that's why it ties to knowing your value. So like me now, I know that I'm very good at productivity and strategy and all that. So if I have a friend that is struggling and say, I have these goals, I'm not able to meet my goals, I'm struggling with being productive, I'm struggling with managing my time or scheduling, all those things. I'm very good at all those things, and like the results are showing in my life. So I'm very, very good at it. So if I have a friend that's I know that I can help you here. So I do my best to check on my friends. This thing you said you do, how far with it? Have you done it? I even have a friend that is in the mess circle. I always reach out to her. Have you listened to your this thing? Have you? If you are procrastinating, I can help you. I can keep you accountable, right? So I'm very good in that aspect. So I always try to keep my friends accountable. And I think that like if there's one thing I know I'm very good at is that like I know how to help you to be productive and achieve what you want to achieve and still keep you accountable. And so just know that you are the value, like know your worth, be
understand.
Don't be depending on any friendship to make you a better person good, but don't depend on any friendship to make you whole or and all these things. Don't do that. Just know your worth, know your value, and then be valuable in the friendship. And then there's also a part of vulnerability too, right? If people want to help you in as much as you know yourself, but you need to be able to, the people that are in your circle, you need to be able to open up to, so that they can see ways to also
help you.
Right? Yes. And so they can know you for who you are.
You really
They can
are.
know you for who you are. Yes. So those are like the three things that I've really
Beautiful. Awesome. Wow.
and there was something I also even wanted to share, but that skipped my mind.
Okay. That's okay.
I wanted to share that.
Thank you, Aramide. Like, I know we can go on and on, but I just want to say, what is your like advice, your final advice for someone that is like on this career path or like pursuing the things similar to what you are doing? What is the one, two thing that you can share with them to help them?
Okay, so when you mean pursuing the same thing I'm doing, that I'm actually thinking about like in the non-profit space.
Yes, non-profit space. Yes, yes.
Okay. So the first thing that I would say is that if you're in non-profit space, they need to be big on telling your story.
Oh,
you need to
yes.
be big on sharing what you're doing. You
Mm.
need to be big on like the things I do for my kids lately. They've been so good because I don't know if I would access these opportunities if I don't talk about the work I do.
Okay.
I talk about my work. Somebody reach out to me. I have a business school opportunity summer camp. I'm like, yeah. And when my kids are going to this camp, they are seeing like the kids that are actually paying for this camp, and they're seeing the fancy bags and all of this. And no, originally they shouldn't be there, but because somebody shared our story, somebody shared stories, so don't be in non-profit space and keep quiet. And before I used to think that when your left hand is doing something, don't let your right hand know
it. Yes.
That's contextual. Is contextual. There are some things I do for people. There are literally some children that I help right now that don't talk about them because it is contextual. Okay. It's contextual. But I know deep inside of me that if I don't talk about the work that I do, then there will be no platform for God to bless me. Because it will be scary it will be very scary for me if I enter my school one day and I see a bag of money on the floor and they write, and I'm on it, on the Ghana must go, is written, "This is from God Almighty. You're sponsoring the work I sent you to do." I'll actually concentrate there because I'm like, God, this is creepy. Right? He always But people will not know the amazing, impactful work you're doing and the lives you're changing. If you don't talk about it, nobody's a witch. Right? If you don't talk about it, nobody will know. And don't even think about, I think the reason why we don't share stories is that we think about it from our own point of view. How will people see me? How will they this? But it's not about you. I don't talk about my work because I want to be seen or heard or I want to be famous. I don't know. I talk about my work because if I don't talk about it, my kids will be limited.
I love that.
Some of my kids, the business school we just completed this summer, 3 of them sell granules. I sent all of them there because I'm like, your granite business must grow. I sent all of them there. Now they have swift business acumen. They were able to do an analysis of their assets, their plan, and everything. I'm like, yes, that's because this exposure is what you need to take your business to the next level. So you can have money to thrive. So if my kids tomorrow are able to buy their own clothes because of that business acumen that they applied and got results, then it's because I talk about my work and now my kids are having a better life. It's not me that is having I'm not the one that went to business school, right? So it's because we always like to, like, we look to ourselves too much. We look to ourselves too much. But you're just a vessel. You're just a bridge. Like, you're just, when you see it from the point of, I'm just a vessel, right? I'm just the bridge through which my kids will get these opportunities. I know how to reach out. Like, I know how to ask people. If I know that you can help me, I'll enter your DM and say, sorry, I do this kind of thing. I run this for kids. I actually need your help. Or like, there's a way to always compose these things. I'll appreciate if you could support me. This is the profile of this girl. This is profile. The budget is 150K per year to send her to school, and all of that. You send everything, and then nobody will kill you for asking. The least that will happen is either they read it, they don't reply, or they say no. You will not die. Nothing will happen to you, right? So share your story, talk about your work. People are seeing it. Sometimes they will not like it. There's some people that they've reached out to me. They've never liked or commented on my post before, but they're literally sponsoring the big project. Like, they actually sponsor the most in my academy because I always and be consistent. Don't do it one day and shut down tomorrow. People think you're a fraud. So keep showing up, and immediately you like tell the story of a girl, you get support for that girl. Go back again and talk about the story of that girl. Talk about it. Like don't be a. You can just imagine if you donate to somebody now, and after donating to them, you'll be like, why? What are you using my money for? You will not donate again. But just keep sharing your story. It is always to make the lives of the people you work with better. And even if like the worst you get is rejection and all of that, but the work will keep moving. The work will keep, you always keep moving. You always keep moving. You always keep moving as long as you share your story. And it gives you a bigger reach. It gives you access to opportunities. It gives you access to places you really never have been before, right? And much more than that, when you get to those spaces, always think of yourself as a vessel and a bridge. So when you are going there, you're not going there to go and form, I've arrived. No. It's for the children. Like, it's for the children. I like to see every opportunity as an investment. When I get to an opportunity, this is an investment and it must produce fruits for me. No matter how, no matter how good looking the opportunity looks. I had the opportunity to see a particular person that is influential. I will talk about, I don't care. I will talk about my work and the thing that I do and bring you in if you're very interested. So keep talking about your work. Like, media is very powerful. This morning, I was listening to a podcast by Lovey Ajayi and
Ugonne.
I can't remember her surname. What? The
Ugonne.
Professional troublemaker.
Yes, I know.
But it wasn't even Ugonne. It was like she started on that podcast too, apparently. Professional troublemaker podcast. And I was listening to she and another comedian. And they kept talking about like how powerful media is. And the girl was like, so at that time she was in British, she was suffering, like she had racism thing and people were really disturbing her and all of that. She wanted to move to America and she wanted to get an opportunity. And an organization in America actually found her because she shared her work on media and shared the work she was doing and all that. And they just Googled black African comedian or black comedian something. And that was how they found her. And that was how she started showing on Showmax, HBO, and all this other, like now she hosts specials on Netflix. Yes. She's making mad money, living her life, like, and everything just because she shared her story. Right. So you can imagine how much more, because that one is just for our own personal something. So you can imagine how much more it would be if you're actually a person of impact and the end result of whatever you're doing is for other children. And right now there's actually a growing support for the vulnerable people in the community, like women, young children. There's actually a growing support for charity. So, like, just look at it from that point. It's bigger than you. So share your story. Like, talk about your work. It is needed. The world is too dark. Like, there's so many bad news going on around, and we need somebody that can actually be a light and just shine that light. So it is not pride. I feel like it's even pride to not share. Because you're too much of yourself. That's why you're not sharing. That's why you're not sharing. It's even pride to sit down and have all these things and have all this content that can help people and have these stories that can help people. Because even if you think about donors, right, there's a benefit that donors get when they give. There is a fulfillment they get. You are robbing them of that fulfillment if you don't share your story. So share your story, like, talk about it. Nobody will bite you. At the end, you get the support you need, and that's not what matters, right? So that's my last one.
Thank you so much. Aramide, your passion, your everything is just admirable, and I love it. I thank you so much for sharing from your heart, sharing all that you're doing. And I thank you because I know that those kids, it's not today, it's later in life that they can even see, they will never ever forget, and they can't thank God enough and thank you enough for what you're doing. And that's just that's the beauty of life. That is the definition of a visionary. So thank you. Please, for someone that would want to support, how can they quickly reach you? What's the easiest place? How can our listeners connect with you?
Aramide Kayode _. Twitter, Aramide Kayode _. Instagram, Aramide Kayode _. LinkedIn, Aramide Kayode.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, this is the end of this conversation. Feel free to leave us your thoughts. Like, it's so refreshing, everything. I feel like I need to come back to it. Honestly, I need to come back to it. So tell us, what did you take away? What did you learn from this? And I would really love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much once again.
All right,
God
thank you
bless
so
you.
much.